Clemson Dubcast, Wednesday, first day of December. Hope everybody out there is safe and well at TigerIllustrated.com right now, monitoring the latest developments. Brent Venables, Oklahoma. Seems like a great fit. Seems like he would absolutely take it if offered. The only question, is he the top candidate, or will he be the top candidate? We will certainly continue to track this at TigerIllustrated.com. My good friends Blake Smith and Brooke Archenhold have been part of the podcast since the beginning, way back in August of 2018. They have an accomplished team of personal injury attorneys at Parham, Smith, and Archenhold, based in Greenville. They are Clemson people, and their skillful attorneys have decades of experience in complicated litigation matters, taking a special interest in medical malpractice, nursing home abuse and neglect, car accident cases that have left the individuals involved in serious trouble. For a free consultation at Parham, Smith, and Archenhold, call 864-990-4581 or online at parhamlaw.com. That's PARHAM law.com. When you're ready for a complete renovation in your home or business, open the door to more with Harris Home and Harris Commercial. Their local experienced team will totally transform any room space, from beautiful floor coverings to construction to finished details. Harris handles every step of your renovation process, whether it's a kitchen or living room or an industrial or educational setting, like some of the positively stunning work they've done at Clemson University. Go to discoverharris.com and experience a total renovation transformation from Harris Home and Harris Commercial. Solero Communications, formerly known as Tandem Payment, is a full-service integrated electronic payments provider powered by leading-edge technology. Solero provides a wide array of merchant solutions, simplified payments. They make onboarding, taking payments, maintaining risk management and compliance, and getting support quick and easy. At Solero, they're all about helping you achieve sustainable growth as a business. Taking payments isn't the only thing your business needs. With Solero's solutions, you can manage inventory, sell products and services via social media, schedule staff, track sales, get reports, and much, much more. Find out more about Solero at solerocommerce.com. That's CELERO commerce.com. Okay, to our conversation with the person who goes by the name Pete, we'll call him, who administers the Twitter feed Message Board Geniuses. He specializes in finding the crazy things college football fans say on message boards, and what a time for this feed to be alive right now. Fun conversation here with Pete. I do need to note this conversation is dated, recorded it 2 weeks ago, so unfortunately does not cover some of the madness that has taken place over the last week or so. Here we go. Enjoy. Okay, joined by someone who goes by the name Pete, who called me who insisted on calling me and my not calling him, and there's no caller ID. I mean, this is like super covert stuff here, man. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
I'm gonna laugh a lot in this interview, probably more than I do in most. But you are you created the Twitter feed Message Board Geniuses, and the handle is Board Geniuses, and you have 31,500 followers. So, well, first of all, how did this start, Pete? Is your name Pete?
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah. No, it is. It really is.
Okay.
Well, I started doing it like a year ago. Obviously it was, the last season was a little bit strange with COVID and everything. And so, college football wasn't quite as, people weren't really quite as into it last year. So, I don't know if that's the case, but it just never really got a lot of traction. I didn't post a ton of stuff, but, I started last, I want to say August maybe, and kind of posted through the season, really all year long. So that's kind of when I started. As to why I started, I'm not quite sure, other than I just started visiting a lot of different message boards, and got a kick out of a lot of stuff that I was seeing. And I thought it was both funny and somewhat comforting, and to know that, my fan base, which is Utah State, wasn't unique in some of the personalities that they have in terms of a fan base. So, that's kind of why I started, and when I started, I guess.
I guess listeners would perhaps be surprised to hear that Utah State has some crazed lunatics on message boards.
So, I mean, I think from what I see, every single fan base has the exact same people in the fan base. I mean, obviously, Utah State fan base is much smaller than Clemson or Alabama, so the number of them isn't quite the same, but the same people are there, whether it's Utah State, Toledo, Clemson, Alabama. It's just a difference in degree, or how the difference in numbers, how many of them there are, but everybody's got them.
So you were just curious to see what other fan bases were saying, I guess, behind the veil of anonymity on message boards? That's really what caused you to sort of venture out and to check out what the other fan bases were saying?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I I didn't ever even have a membership to a message board, but I would kind of look at ours. And then, maybe whoever we were playing that week, I would look at theirs before and after the game to see what they were saying. And then I just kind of slowly broadened out to say, hey, well, let's see what these guys are saying after their game. And, it kind of broadened out. And then I just started seeing so much funny and crazy stuff on there that I just thought, well, maybe I'll try to share these and see if anyone gets a kick out of them like I do.
And then, I guess fast forwarding to this week, there was a really good article in The Athletic sort of profile in your whole venture. And that's actually what gave me the idea to see if you wanted to come on the podcast. How much have you gotten, I guess, a noticeable bump in followers ever since that article ran? Or when have the biggest jumps come during the whole progression of it?
Well, I mean, I think right around maybe it was like the end of July, 1st of August this year, I had, I don't know, probably like 3,000 followers. And I was thinking, okay, well, if I can get up around 4,000 or 5,000 by the start of the season, that'd be great. But at some point, I recognized right around the end of July, 1st of August, that Scott Van Pelt had followed the account. And so I just kind of tweeted out that he had followed it. And then, so that kind of started the jump. But then Stuart Mandel, Brett McMurphy, Pat Forty, a lot of the mainstream guys started to follow, and then they would retweet stuff. And it just went nuts. I mean, honestly, what'd you say? It was at 31 now. It was 3, so that's 3 or 4 months. It's 28,000 followers. It just went nuts. Really, just because of those guys. I mean, they gave it some legit. I guess if you want to call it legitimacy, I don't know if I would call it legitimacy, but at least some notoriety. And so people started to follow, and then every day it's just it gets more and more people, which I think is, I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, I remember, I think the first time I stumbled onto it was over the summer, and I remember looking at your followers and saying, how does this only have 3,000 followers? It's just too good. And it's amazing to see that it's grown that much in I guess less than 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, I always thought the same. I always thought this is funny, and it didn't really gain any traction until then. And then there's a lot of other people that I suppose that appreciate it now. Just for what it is. It's not any special talent on my end. I'm just finding stuff that I think is nuts and tweeting it out. But yeah, I always thought it was funny, and was kind of waiting to see when it would take off.
So what, I'm interested, what do you make? You've already said that, most of these people are the same types of people. What do you make of the psychology or the mental makeup of, you got a lot of, a lot of these people are my customers. I know a lot of them. And they mostly seem pretty smart and educated, but does something just happen when you combine sports, an obsessively followed pursuit with the anonymity of the ability to type something where you can just sort of spout off whatever you want to? Are those two sort of the biggest factors to you in the whole culture of it, where people just sort of say crazy things?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. So like you, for example, on the Utah State message boards, I knew personally who a lot of them were, and I would see what they would post anonymously. Most of these guys were smart, educated, what I thought were emotionally mature, people. And then I would see some of the stuff that they would post, and it was what I would think would be completely out of character. But, I think you have both the anonymity factor and then just the accessibility factor, right? If I'm watching a game and, something doesn't go my way, now I can pick up my phone and tweet out exactly what I'm feeling and thinking, or post exactly what I'm feeling and thinking right in the heat of the moment. I don't have any cool down time. I don't have any time to process whether or not this is a good idea what I'm about to type. I just toss it out there and hit post, and there it is. So I think it's kind of both of those. So it's just the accessibility, the anonymity, and then just the whole emotion that's involved. And I think that's kind of unique to college football. I don't think you get the same kind of emotion with, professional sports or anything else. I'm not quite sure why that is. I mean, I have a couple ideas, but I just don't know why college sports draws out so much more emotion than the other sports.
What are your ideas?
Well, I think I kind of said this in the Athletic article, but it seems like there's more of a identity that someone has with their college sports team, right? Either they went to that school and they have a degree from that school, and that school is kind of part of who they are. And so, their identity for some people is attached to the success of the football team. If they do well, for some reason, that kind of boosts some self-esteem or some self-worth. And, the opposite, if they lose, they almost feel like something is taken from them, or, they feel like a little bit lesser because the team lost. Or, if you didn't go to school, your dad probably grew up taking you to games. His granddad probably grew up taking him to games. So it's just kind of something within the family structure that that's what you do. Is you're a Clemson fan, you're an Alabama fan, whatever. That's just part of your family, and that's part of your makeup. And so I think there's a lot more identity there. Those are my theories.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot more emotion tied up in it.
And just thinking out loud, in the pros, how prevalent are two teams in two franchises in one state? Not many. And then, you have the land grant school. You typically, the agriculture versus the big city school. I mean, that's pretty, that's everywhere in college. And so you have those sort of generational, you have your grandparents went to one school, and so therefore your parents did, and you did. And so just sort of, I haven't really thought of it that deeply, but just sort of thinking of it off the cuff, it seems that might be a kind of a key difference or the ingredients that go into making people crazy.
Yeah. And you got all the the rivalries that are mixed in, and, sometimes fans are just as happy to watch their rival lose as they are to watch their team win. And so, it's not just an emotional tie to your team, but whoever the rival is, there's almost an equally intense emotional tie to your rival team, to where, okay, if you lose, your weekend can still be salvaged if your rival also loses, right?
Just devilish delight in seeing the other fan base suffering.
Yeah, misery loves company, I suppose.
Rivals.com only recently, I think in the last couple of months, I guess I should say, created an upgrade to subscriptions where if you pay an extra, I don't know, a couple of more dollars a month, you can have full access to maybe read only. I'm not sure. But anyway, full access to the other message boards in the network. And so people just eat that up, because, what happens during the season when, Florida State crashes and burns or Texas or whoever, man, you want to go and look at the carnage on that other message board if you're a fan.
Yep. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it goes back to what we were just kind of talking about is you kind of take some delight in someone else's misery, right? And to go on and laugh at someone else's misery, no matter how bad your own is, you still laugh at someone else's.
This has to be like something tribal, something hardwired and primal within us that makes us as humans want to do such a thing.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on it, but I mean, I think, I don't know about you, but, I'm the same way. And my weekend can be completely ruined, depending on the outcome of, how a bunch of 19 and 20-year-old kids, perform in a game on a Saturday.
So
it's wild.
Were you one of these people? Are you one of these people? I mean, is there a record of irrational message board posts on Utah State message boards from you?
No, I do not have an account. I never have had an account. But I look at them, and, I would look at them a lot before, like, information, recruiting information or, rumors or whatever. So I would visit a lot, but I've never had an account. I've never had what I felt was any meaningful contribution to a board in any way, shape, or form. So no, there is no record. If I run for office, I'm not going to have to defend anything.
How many times a day do you post? How many times do you feel like you have to post at a certain frequency, whether it's during the week or I guess especially on a Saturday, just to keep up with everything? No, I've never set out. I mean, I kind of just surf throughout the day, and if I see something funny, I'll post it. So some days are a little faster than others. Saturdays, sometimes I wished I had never started posting in the middle of the games on Saturday because there's so much and it occupies so much time. But that's when you get some of the best content. So I never feel like there's, I have to post so much. But, obviously the more I post, the more stuff gets out there and the more people start to see it. And I try to spread things out as much as I can. I try not to post too much Texas A&M stuff in one day or too much Clemson stuff in one day. Depending on what's happening, sometimes that's hard, but I try to at least spread it out so it doesn't look like I'm picking on any one fan base. Some people think that's not the case, but it's true. I try not to pick on anybody, but I don't have like a certain quota. Like I feel like I need to do so many in a day or whatever. It also depends on how much work I have to do that day. Have you gotten complaints that you pick on certain schools?
I really don't get too much complaints. There was one all in one day. I had Texas A&M fans saying that I was a Texas fan, and Texas fans saying that I was a Texas A&M fan. So that's really the only one. There was a time there were a Clemson fan. I got a couple of notes from Clemson fans saying that I picked on them too much. But that was right at the time when there was a lot. I mean, there was a lot to choose from early in the season. It's kind of settled down now, but things got nuts there for a little bit early in the seain. You
mean like after they lost to NC State and Pitt?
Yeah, those even the game, they were winning games, but they were just, they were just barely, better than I do, but, they were just, it was un-Clemson-like, right? I mean, and so even in the wins, it was just like a loss. It's like the Oklahoma loss to Kansas. No one was feeling good about the about the W. So there was still the exact same emotion that you would see after they lost, even though they won. So there was a time there where I think there was probably a lot of Clemson stuff on there, but I wasn't trying to pick on Clemson. It was just the circumstances.
You said you have a job. What do you do? I mean, I know you don't want to give everything away, but what do you do? Do you have a family? What's your daily life like?
Yeah, I have a family. I have a wife and 2 daughters who are just young, and I'm an attorney. So I do try to do some work during the day.
And how old are your girls?
I have one that's 11 and one that's 7.
Okay. And so how do you balance this? Like, I mean, let's say, let's say you, I mean, you know, like most families, you want to go on a trip on a Saturday afternoon in the fall or go to the park or something. Do you feel like you have to be near the computer so you can scour message boards to find some good stuff? Or do you put it off until later that night, or how does that work?
That's the beauty of cell phones. I'll do a handful of it from the cell phone, you know. So I don't always have to be watching the game, you know. I can just keep an eye on a score, right? So if I know, for example, Oklahoma's playing Kansas, I keep using that as an example. I don't know why. If I see that Kansas scores a touchdown on their first drive, I know whether I'm out of the house or not. I know I just got to jump on the Oklahoma board and I'm going to find a million, posts wanting to fire Lincoln Riley, wanting to bench Caleb Williams and bring back Spencer Rattler or whatever. I know I'm going to find all that stuff just by looking at the score. So I don't always have to be right in front of the TV necessarily. So I guess it's somewhat mobile. Is I can take it out whether I'm at one of my daughter's soccer games or whatever. I can still multitask, I suppose you could say. So I don't watch all the games. I don't necessarily think that I need to. But the only time I take off is if Utah State's playing. You won't see me post anything.
Well, even like if you're at a soccer game, do you feel like you're sort of maybe sort of tied to it, where you're having to be distracted to, when you're watching your daughters play soccer, you're during the breaks, you're scouring some message boards to find stuff?
No,
it's not a problem.
No, it's it's not a problem. It's pretty easy to do and pretty quick to do. I try not to divert too much attention to it. It's easier than you might think. If you know what boards to go and what to look for, it's really pretty easy. I guess now I generally have an idea of where to go and how to do it, and I can do it pretty quick and easy without taking too much attention away from the task at hand.
It's funny. Earlier in the season, early in the season, so, some Clemson fans on our message board, a common refrain was, in talking about the offense, which has stunk this year, dropped off a cliff. A common refrain was, we need to do some things that Lincoln Riley and Steve Sarkisian are doing, the orbit motion and all the bells and whistles and the tempo and things like that. And then gradually the people they were talking about as aspiring to be like, they started encountering major problems too. So then it became, we need to be more like, Steve Sarkisian. And they didn't mention Lincoln Riley because Oklahoma was having problems moving the ball early in the year. I guess West Virginia comes to mind when they barely won that game. I think they scored 16 points, and then and now Texas is a dumpster fire. They can't beat Kansas, and so it's like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know who fans point to now as being that ideal. Like, we need to be more like this because
it's Lane Kiffin now.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin's like
everybody wants Lane Kiffin.
He's the only one left. As far as like offensive masterminds, maybe Mike Leach, but it's not like the Mississippi State hasn't been a roller coaster this year in their own right.
Yeah, I mean, Lane Kiffin, and no matter what board you go on, anybody either has fired their coach or wants to fire their coach, they want Lane Kiffin. It used to be Hugh Freeze and Art Briles for some reason, and now it's Lane Kiffin. Everybody wants Lane Kiffin because, the grass is always greener on the other side. Which, like Oklahoma fans, they wanted to fire for a while. They wanted to fire Lincoln Riley, and now LSU wants him. Like, no, because then the reality sets in. It's like, okay, well, who's better, right? Nobody. And I'm sure Clemson fans would be the same. But if Dabo was rumored to go to LSU, or even if Tony Elliott leaves, right? Because I know some people wanted him gone earlier.
Oh, or not earlier. Still, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, what's out there? So, I mean, the grass is always greener on the other side. And, it's not just Clemson fans or Oklahoma fans. I mean, Utah State fans wanted Matt Wells fired forever, and then he gets hired by Texas Tech. They're like, why are you leaving us? Anyways, so everybody does the same thing.
And that's really the revelation that I think I've picked up on from Clemson fans, at least, who have seen your feed. In fact, I got a text just a few days ago from a good friend who said, "Oh my God, I just discovered Board Geniuses on Twitter. Larry, why haven't you alerted me to this treasure chest?" And the takeaway is, because when you're in your own bubble, in your own silo of whatever team, I hear this all the time. This message board has gone to crap. It's terrible. It's just negativity. These fans are the worst. And then it's such an eye-opening thing, I think, for fans of one team to discover, wait a minute, there are crazy, irrational fans at Alabama too. Like they don't unanimously love Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa, and the same with Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma. They're getting the same crap.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, when I say it's the same on every board, it literally is the same on every board. You have this contingent of people who are always negative, no matter what happens. They're always negative, and then you have this contingent of people that get offended by the slightest bit of negativity, and right.
And they're going at each other. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, every single board is the exact same. I don't think the boards would really exist to the extent they do if it wasn't that way. There has to be an opposition in order to create some, some traffic there. But yeah, I mean, it's totally the same. Everybody's the exact same. So hopefully that's one thing people see from the feed is that, look, we're no different than anybody else. We're not any less reasonable or rational than anybody else.
What is there? So there are message boards, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there are different tiers of message board. There's premium, well, obviously like ours at TigerIllustrated.com. Then there are free boards. Then there's Twitter, which is, I guess, basically a free message board, just not a team specific message board. What are some of the differences that you see in the discourse? I guess let's just start with premium message boards versus free message boards on a team level.
Well, generally, I think like the free board is where you're going to find the crazier stuff for obvious reasons, right? That's where you get a lot of drive-bys and people just coming on and saying crazy stuff because they can create an account for free. And you probably get a lot of trolls on there from other fan bases who come on and pose as, a member of that fan base and put some crazy post on there. Most of that is where you find the good stuff. Yeah. For me, right? And I think like the premium boards seem, you probably know better than I do, but the premium boards seem to be a place where you find, more recruiting talk, maybe some more substantiated rumors or talk, and maybe a little a little higher level of conversation in terms of, coaching, schemes, personnel, those sorts of things. That's kind of my takeaway from the different kinds of boards. And I get it. I don't go to them, but I gather there's also Facebook boards and Reddit and all that stuff, which is probably even worse than the free boards in terms of craziness. But I haven't really spent a lot of time on those types of things.
Why not?
I don't know. To be honest, I just haven't done it. I probably find some crazy stuff on there. I don't really use Reddit, so I'm not real familiar with Reddit. Facebook, I mean, I don't know. I guess I could maybe branch out there. I haven't felt like I needed to, but
I would not recommend it.
But, I don't use Facebook personally, so that's one reason. But I'll bet you find some crazy stuff on there.
Yeah, no doubt. I've told other colleagues that there are all sorts of headaches that come with this business, but I don't think I could find another profession where I spend as much time a day laughing. It's just, there's so many funny things, and it's not just fans on message boards. It could be crazy stuff that coaches say. But I'm just curious, like, is a big part of this just so you can entertain yourself? And how much do you laugh? How much of your day is filled with laughter as a result of this?
Yeah, I mean, I get a kick out of it. But I find that some of the stuff that I think is the funniest doesn't really sell as well as some of the other stuff. But yeah, I mean, I get a kick out of it. It's funny, and I guess I hope people understand that it's all in good fun. I think people kind of have understood that it's all in good fun, just to see some of the crazy stuff that's out there and appreciate it and laugh at it. And, I do quite a bit, so I enjoy it. And I probably don't put a lot of stuff I think is funny on there because I try to stay away from politics or some stuff that might go south on me. But some of that stuff is the funniest, and I don't post it just because I don't want to go down that road. But it's entertaining.
Football season is grilling season, and Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio is South Carolina's premier source for the big three: Weber, Traeger, and Big Green Egg Grills. Blackstone Griddles, too. I'm Jack Oliver. Grill all your tailgate favorites to perfection with a premium gas, charcoal, or pellet grill, then top it all off with something sizzling from your Blackstone griddle. For grills, griddles, patio furniture, hot tubs, and saunas, shop in store or online at Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, Forest Drive in Columbia, and jackoliverpools.com.
Another loyal supporter of the Dubcast is Blackacre Law Firm in Greenville, a subsidiary of Parham Smith and Archambault. Blackacre helps South Carolina residents achieve their dreams of home ownership by providing experienced professional representation for real estate closings. Attention to detail is crucial in real estate law. Blackacre is committed to making sure nothing gets by them preparing residential or commercial closings. Blackacre also offers estate planning services for their clients in the Greenville area. Find out more about Blackacre at 864-326-3507. If you're in the Eastern Midlands and PD area and you're in any way interested in buying and selling a home, commercial property, land, need to consider reaching out to Uptown Realty. They're based out of Sumter and run by a friend of mine, Patrick Enzer, big Clemson guy, used to cover the Tigers in a newspaper capacity, longtime supporter of Tiger Illustrated, longtime listener to the Dubcast. The home buying process should be an enjoyable experience, so let Patrick and his staff do all the heavy lifting. All you got to do is pick up the phone and call 803-774-0435 or go to uptownrealtysc.com. Want to share a quick word about Founders Federal Credit Union? If you've been to a sporting event in Clemson, you've probably heard about Founders already. They are the official credit union partner of the Clemson Tigers. In addition to that, all Clemson faculty, staff, and students are eligible for membership as well as IPTAY members. Matt Gross is a proud Clemson alum and the vice president for the Clemson market for Founders Federal Credit Union. Matt's office is located beside the Walmart Neighborhood Market on Old Greenville Highway in Clemson. For more information, go to foundersfcu.com. What about Twitter discourse? How does that rank in terms of? Do you read? Do you scroll that as well a lot? Do you look at all the comments, and how does that sort of fit into the, I guess, intellectual hierarchy of sports discourse in your mind?
I don't really. Like I rarely will retweet other tweets or post tweets. I haven't really done that. And I guess part of it is I don't want to get into any sort of a conversation or debate or argument with someone when I post their tweet. If I post someone's message board, they're probably never going to see it. If I post a message board, they're probably not ever going to see it, or they're not going to come out and own up to it. And so, I don't have to worry about, having to get into some sort of a Twitter feud with somebody, because that's certainly not what I would want to do.
Like, hey, that was me who called for Lincoln Riley's firing.
Yeah, funny. I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure they see it, but no one ever comes on and owns up to it.
I want to quote.
It would be funny.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that would be funny if someone would do it.
I would quote one you found from Oklahoma, Sooner 50-30. The talent keeps getting better, but the teams are regressing each year. I think Riley is in over his head. He's either lost or just too stubborn to look in the mirror and realize what he is doing is not the answer. Our sunshine pumpers will just wait till next year like always. LOL. Lincoln Riley needs to bolt while he is still considered a great coach. I won't miss him at all. I still think Baker Mayfield made Lincoln Riley.
Right? I mean, part of me does want to have those people in the room and say, okay, tell me exactly what you think is going to be better. What's your plan here? Who are you going to bring in? And explain to me why exactly Lincoln Riley's no good. That's what I would like. So I think it'd be interesting to make them defend themselves at some point. Right?
Absolutely. There was another one you said was one of the, I guess, Hall of Famers from a Toledo poster. His name.
Oh, that was awesome.
His name is Falcon Plucker. It says Coach Candle. I guess, is that a head coach? Is that their Toledo's assistant?
Yeah, I think it's like one of their coordinators or O-line coach. I had to look up who it was when he posted it.
Well, first of all, what are you doing on Toledo's message board? I'm just curious. That's a lot of. You're all over the place.
I'm going to be honest. I think someone sent that to me.
Okay.
I think someone or they sent me the link, and I went in and screenshot. I don't remember, but I think someone tipped me off onto that one, because that's not a place I would normally find myself.
So the post goes. The post says, "Coach Candle stopped by my house last night. After some recreational peyote use, I let the dog out and sat down to contemplate life. After a few minutes, I heard a voice at the sliding door. I have no idea where my dog went, but Coach Candle was there. I let him in and said, 'Coach, what a surprise. What brings you here?' He said that my pizza rolls and Taco Bell smelled amazing and that he was starving. I said, 'Help yourself.' The weird thing is that he just leaned against the counter eating tacos and pizza rolls without using his hands. I offered him a plate, but he said, 'No thanks.' I said, 'While you're here, what are your thoughts on Saturday's matchup?' Coach said, 'One game at a time. We need to play 60 minutes of good football. There are no easy games. We can't afford to look past this team. We need to score more points. offensively. We need explosive plays. We need to be efficient with the ball. We need to stop the run. We need to pressure the quarterback. I was like, that is amazing, Coach. Anything else? He said, I need you there. I need you at that game. I heard how you put Toledo over the top against Michigan, and I need you there. I was like, yes, sir. I will be there. I will be there. My wife will be there. UT Jesus will be there. And 4,998 other of Toledo's finest will be there. Women, children, old people who think they're going to Branson. We'll all be there. Before leaving, he turned, looked at me, and said, next man up, next man up. At some point, I fell asleep, and I'm not sure what the dog ate last night, but there was a hell of a mess. I will never forget Coach making a surprise visit. So tomorrow, it's time for all of us to shine. Let Notre Dame know that Toledo is in the house. Next man up, next man up. That is a classic for sure.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best. Yeah, it would be hard to top that one for sure.
So do you keep like a file of like the best of, and do you post a regular sort of accounting of some of the best that you've had over like a period of a week or a month? Or
yeah, I usually will do it at the end of the month, and then like at the end of the year I'll do one. So I did one for the best of October, like the top 25 or something. And then I'll usually do it at the end of the year. I'll do like the 100 best of the year or something like that.
Do you?
That one's probably a contender for the top, I would say.
Do you? I assume that you're having to pay for some of these subscriptions.
Some, yeah, and yeah, some. So I don't pay for all, but I do pay for some.
Gotcha. And you have, I assume that as you grow more popular, you have more people who are sending you tips and screenshots and things like that.
Yeah, and it's gotten more over the last few weeks, but I probably get 2 or 3 a day. I don't use all the ones that get sent to me, but I'll get 2, 3, 4 a day sometimes. So that helps.
And you could have at this point, you could hire an intern or something maybe.
I could, yeah. I should think about it. I might get to that point, but we're not quite there yet.
So when your 11 and 7-year-old daughters ask, what are you doing? How do you explain to them what this is?
Oh, they don't know.
They don't know.
No, they don't know. They probably just think I'm on my phone. They don't know.
How about your wife?
She doesn't really care. To be honest, when I'm home, I don't really do it that much when I'm at home. When I'm at the office, it's when I do most of it. So I really don't do it that much at home, except for on Saturdays. Sometimes I'll schedule some tweets to go out later at night, but I'll usually do it in the daytime. So I don't really do it that much when I'm at home. I try not to. During the week, at least.
Yeah. Is there an end game here? Is there a way to monetize this? Are you monetizing it in any way?
Those are all great questions that I don't really know the answer to. In terms of, I didn't start with an end game, which I guess is a bad business plan. So I'm still trying to figure that out. What to do with it, if anything. It's not anything that I've monetized yet. I've had people approach me with different things, but I haven't quite decided how I want to go about it. So nothing yet, and I don't know what to do with it. I guess I need someone smarter than me to help me figure that out.
Are you familiar with freezing cold takes?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah,
I am.
They were one of the sort of first to come up with a really cool idea of recognizing sort of lunacy. I guess mostly that's of sports writers who have a bunch of
that's great. Yeah, that feed's great. And I don't know what he, what his story is fully, or how he goes about it. But if I was even half as popular as that, that would be fantastic, probably.
So, do you have you just enjoy the profile basically of it? Is really that's where you get your satisfaction, I guess, of some of your creation. Now having
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because that's all kind of happened so quickly that I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know right now. I don't know how to continue, or whether to continue, or where to go with it from here. I honestly hadn't really been able to sit down and figure out what to do with it, but yeah, I guess right now it's just personal satisfaction, which seems kind of narcissistic, I guess. I hope that's not the way it comes off.
I don't know if it's funny, I think, and you're getting a lot of laughs out of it. I think that chips away at some of the narcissistic parts of it.
Yeah, perhaps.
What if you were to rank the craziest? I mean, you've said they're pretty much all the same, but surely in your mind, there's a hierarchy of some of the craziest fan bases or message board inhabitants. You want to give it a shot and maybe give me a top 5, top 10?
Well, yeah, I mean, and really it's a matter of degree, right? So, and I do rank the message boards, and I'll have one that comes out at the end of the season, probably in December or January. So I won't give that away, but I mean, I can list a few off in no particular order. But keeping in mind, what really makes it is, really the amount of traffic and the type of content that they have. But some of the good ones are obviously Texags is a good one. Surly Horns is funny.
Say it again.
Surly Horns, which is a Texas board.
Okay.
Is funny. Tiger Droppings, LSU, is always good. There is a University of Washington one called Hardcore Husky, which is hilarious, but rarely is the stuff fit for me to tweet out. It's kind of out there. Yeah. But it's pretty funny. So there's those. Dirt Burglars, which is an Oklahoma one, is funny. The Nebraska ones have all been good this year. Let's see. Kane's Insight with Miami. Those are all ones that are just coming to the top of my head right now. And they all get pretty high traffic, and they can be entertaining.
What do you make of what is going on at Florida right now?
I can't gather what they're going to do there. I have to think that they've got to keep Mullen at this point because they're almost too late in the game. I mean, who are they going to get? Unless they can outbid Miami for Kiffin, I don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, I know what everybody wants to happen, but I was curious as anybody to see what the end game is there. My guess is they just hire some new coordinators and run it back.
Yeah.
Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, you're right. It's hard to guess.
I mean, because, okay, you're going to compete with LSU, USC, and, whatever other jobs open up. It's not exactly a good time to try to jump in the market unless you've got tons of money.
So a couple of weeks ago, when the pole assassin story came out, did you stop everything and
Yeah. Yeah, there are certain events that make you drop everything and get on the message boards. And gosh, I can't even remember off the top of my head right now what some of the posts were on that. But there were a couple that were super funny. And I wish that I could remember them off the top of my head. I didn't come prepared for that. But that was a good time on the boards. Again, I try not to post any X-rated stuff or anything that has a lot of cuss words or anything like that. So a lot of the stuff that was the funniest, I don't think I posted.
The wildest thing about that, well, not the wildest, but the most interesting thing was most sort of respected, established media outlets stayed away from it. But everybody was talking about it. And yet, there was really no hook there for, say, ESPN to chase that or to, to actually make it a story. And it was just bizarre because it was the topic for a couple of days everywhere, except you couldn't find any story about it, including in the Texas media, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I think there might have just been, I don't know. I don't know what it was about it that made it that, the mainstream media outlets didn't want to touch it. I suppose maybe they didn't want to touch, because I think what made it so entertaining was there's the whole stripper element to it, right?
Yeah.
If that's just if that's just his wife of 20 years who happened to have a monkey that bit a kid, the story's really not that funny.
Right.
But when you're throwing that element and, all that, then all of a sudden it's funny, and maybe the mainstream media didn't want to really go down that road. I don't know.
And then you have the stripper herself tweeting, I guess that night, saying, "Relax, everybody, the monkey was vaccinated."
Yeah, that too. Yeah, and I don't think that any mainstream media wanted to have to say the word pole assassin on air or in print, and so they probably just didn't want to go to air with that.
You seem to take a particular liking to flight trackers on message boards, including one that I have in front of me. I guess from
the Notre Dame one.
It was LSU. From yesterday, you say, "Breaking news! It's happening. The plane has touched down in Norman. Lincoln Riley to LSU," and then you post a screenshot. It says, "Private jet just took off from BTR with no flight plan registered. Landed in Norman. We'll see where it lands, but it's heading straight to Norman. No tail number. Learjet 60. Get in, balls. It's almost lunchtime. Update," in all caps. "It's begun its descent into the Norman OKC area. Update. Touchdown in Norman."
Those are the wildest. People go to that extent, man. They find one plane going anywhere near. Because there was one also from the Notre Dame where, and I don't know, this could have been a complete joke by the Notre Dame poster, but they posted one coming from South Bend to what they said was Baton Rouge. But apparently they didn't understand the map because it was like actually going to Florida or somewhere over Florida. It wasn't even going to Baton Rouge. But those flight trackers, I'm sure it's just going to get worse here in the coming days. People posting that, and I still don't. To be between us girls, I don't know if those are people just posting that to get others riled up, or if they really, really think that they've cracked the case. Based on the flight tracker, those are funny posts.
I've always been fascinated to know these people who are posting all the time, during weekdays on message boards. What do they do for a living?
Oh, they probably do the same thing I do. They probably have jobs, and on one of their monitors they've got their work up, and the other monitor they've got message boards up or on their phone. Phones are wonderful things. That's my guess. Who knows?
Has this been the craziest college football season that you can remember? Just the tumult. I mean, it's just at the top. Just when we thought we knew what, the upper sort of tier was, and it was going to be the same, everything just gets turned upside down.
Yeah, it's been wild. I mean, it started just with Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, and it just got weirder after that. Yeah, it's been wild. So it's been good for business, I suppose you could say. Just starting there, and then everything else with the coaching turnover, and there really doesn't seem to be a real dominant team outside of Georgia. So there's all that going on, and the playoff thing. Are they going to expand? Conference expansion, all that stuff. It's made for an interesting season. Seems like it's gone by pretty fast.
Now, will you keep? office hours, so to speak, with your message board geniuses during the off season, or do you take a break?
No, last year I just kept it going. There's still plenty of stuff. Sometimes it gets even crazier in the off season because everybody's going to win the championship, or you got all the recruiting deals. So I'll keep it going. Plus, there's college basketball. I'll do a little bit. Sometimes there's good stuff with college basketball. I'll keep it. Probably not nearly to the degree that I do now, but I'll keep posting stuff because there's still people posting on message boards.
I guess the crazy college basketball fans, they're just sort of pockets of it. It's not as widespread as college football, or not, or is that? No, not really. I mean, but you saw Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Louisville, Indiana. They're still pretty passionate about it, and so you still get stuff, just not quite to the extent that you do in football. But you still get all the same type of stuff. So when Texas was losing to Kansas, was that a stop the presses or stop everything you're doing and hop on the message boards at that very moment during that game?
Yeah, and it sucked because I think I was in a movie, and so I had to just put on dark mode and kind of go for it. It was one of those things where you just kept waiting. Okay, well, at some point Texas will pull it out. It was kind of the same as when Texas A&M beat Alabama. I think I was in a movie on that one too, and I kept looking at the score thinking, okay, at some point, Alabama's gonna take over, and that's kind of what I thought with the Texas, but it never did. So yeah, I don't think I gave it the proper attention that it deserved until after. But I don't know if you saw, but after there were some funny ones from Texas, like the guy that wanted to fight the defensive coordinator. He wanted him to meet somewhere and fight. There was some other one. Some guy had wrote a letter to all the players, basically telling them that they were worthless. Oh, there was good stuff on there.
I'm looking through. I can't find the one where he wanted to fight the defense.
Oh yeah. He had, if I remember right, he had a meeting place and everything. That was one of my favorite posts ever.
I found it. PK, is that the assistant?
Yeah.
What's his?
I can't think of his last name.
Anyway, okay, the post goes, if you're on board anywhere, PK, I'll be in Austin this week. Let's effing throw down. If I win, you get the F out of Texas and go back to the West Coast. If you win, you can stay and quote-unquote coach your too high safety defense. Spoiler alert. I'm going to kick your blank. Oh, my God.
Yeah, see, that one's fantastic. That's one of my favorite ones.
Oh, Pete Kwiatkowski, I think is his name.
And that's why they call him PK, because I don't think anyone knows how to say it.
Or spell it.
Yeah, that's a good post.
Well, this is great. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, but really appreciate your time and appreciate you giving a lot of folks, including myself, a lot of laughs during the season. It's great stuff.
Enough about Sarah. I appreciate you having me on. It was good to talk to you.
All right. Thanks to Pete and everything he does to help keep everybody, including himself, entertained. Appreciate the very loyal and longtime support of our sponsors for helping make this happen. Most of all, thanks to all of you for hitting play on that thing every week. Be good. Be safe. Cheers.